Okay, let's pull together a lot of what we've learned from Chapter 4 and from Chapter 13 and 14. From Chapter 4, we know how prices are determined in the overall marketplace. From Chapter 14, we've learned how firms maximize profits. They choose a quantity where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. We've also illustrated how firms make a choice whether to enter or exit the market. When there's profits, there's entry, and if there's losses, there's exit. So what we want to do is we're going to start off in equilibrium. We're going to start off with the market setting a price, and then we're going to introduce an increase in the demand for our favorite product, loaves of bread. So let's just imagine that we're going to start off with a nice loaf of bread being at a price of $6. Okay? So where's that price come from? In the overall marketplace, a price of $6 would come from the interaction of demand and supply. So starting off with a price of $6. Each individual firm is going to choose the quantity of loaves of bread they're going to bake based upon their costs. As they increase their costs of making bread, they have to give up producing other goods. And they're going to be considering their average total cost to determine whether or not they're making a profit or not. At $6, we would see that firms producing zero economic profit, if we're starting off in equilibrium, would be producing at a quantity, in this case, of say, 50 loaves of bread. And let's suppose that we've got 100 bakeries in our area. They're each going to be charging $6 for a loaf of bread. And if there's 100 of these bakeries in the community, then we'll have a market equilibrium of 5,000 loaves of bread. So that's our starting point. Our market is in equilibrium. The price is adjusted to bring the quantity demanded into balance with the quantity supplied. At that price of $6, each of our 100 firms will be choosing to produce 50 loaves of bread. Okay? At this price level of $6, this quantity of 50 is the profit maximizing quantity. Okay? So we're starting off with 100 firms, each producing 50 loaves of bread. So for a total of 5,000 loaves of bread. So let's consider that there's an increase in the number of people that in our community. Well, that's going to result in an increase in the demand. So we're going to introduce a change in demand. Supply will stay the same. So let's draw that supply curve pretty much exactly like we did. But now let's boost that demand. We're going to have a higher level of demand. So in our market for loaves of bread, we've got a higher level of demand. An increase in demand, supply stays the same, we will have a shortage. That's going to push prices up. So let's just imagine that our price level is going to go up to $7 for each loaf of bread. Now let's consider what's going to happen for each individual firm at this price level of $7. Okay. Well, the firms at a higher price of $7, they're going to decide, you know what, it makes sense to stop producing cupcakes. We're going to start producing more loaves of bread. So for each of these 100 firms, they're going to decide to increase their production of loaves of bread. At this higher price level of $7, and given these costs that we started with, each individual firm of our 100 firms might choose to produce 55 loaves of bread. At that higher price of $7, they're going to cut back, say, on cupcakes or other sweets or other bakery items, and will increase their production of loaves of bread. So at that higher price of $7, let's take a look and see what's going on for each individual firm. at that price of $7, now we see that each loaf of bread is going to be earning the bakers a positive economic profit. So instead of earning zero, when we started off, we had zero economic profit. But now, at this higher price level of $7, each loaf of bread is earning economic profit for our 100 bakeries. Okay. So we're going to have in our market, we would see 5,500 loaves of bread at this price level of $7. Okay. But since there's an economic profit that's being earned for each loaf of bread, that's going to attract entry into the marketplace. So we're going to see that the number of bakeries is going to increase. It's going to go above 100. So let's just imagine what happens as we go from 100 to 101, 102. Well, as we do, the supply curve is going to shift out to the right. As supply increases and demand staying the same, that's going to push prices down. So let's just consider what would happen. Firms will enter the market, prices will continue to fall, and firms will continue to enter as long as there is an incentive for them to do so. Firms will stop entering once the price leads to zero economic profits. Once we reach zero economic profit, it won't make sense for any firms to want to enter into the marketplace. So how low will prices go? The prices will be driven back to that original price level of $6. So let's consider that for the price to go from $7 to $6, that we'd have perhaps another 200 firms might enter into the marketplace. Okay? So let's just consider, if we had, instead of having 100 firms, now we will have 120 firms in our marketplace. Our supply would increase. We'd have that higher level of demand, and we'll come back to that original price level of $6. Okay. Each individual firm is going to be producing 50 loaves of bread. We've gone from 100 firms, now we've got 120 firms. Each of these 120 firms is going to be bringing 50 loaves of bread to the marketplace. So the overall quantity of loaves of bread will be 6,000 loaves of bread. Okay. So this illustrates the interaction between individual firms and the marketplace. We started off in equilibrium. Our market is in equilibrium at a price of $6. At that price of $6, our 100 firms will each bring 50 loaves of bread into the marketplace. If there's an increase in demand, that's going to create a shortage. Prices will go up. At the higher price of $7, now each individual firm is going to want to bring more loaves of bread into the marketplace. And they're going to be earning an economic profit for those loaves of bread. As they've earned that profit, that's going to attract entry into the marketplace. As firms enter into the marketplace, the price will be driven back down to that original price level of $6. Each individual firm is going to come back to producing that original quantity of 50 loaves of bread. So the overall market impact of an increase in demand is that there's a short-run increase in price, but in the long run, we come back to that original price level at a higher quantity with more firms. So in the short run, we see an increase in price, but in the long run, price comes back to the original level. But we have more firms. So hopefully this gives you a feel for how individual firms interact with the overall marketplace.